Let's go to your story on the front page of Over the Monster right now. Who should the Red Sox acquire? While sports radio, to be honest, and everybody's talking about Jose Reyes and Carlos Beltran. Beltran may be real. Let's be honest. When we look back at the history, and let's just talk about the last 15, 20 years of the Red Sox, of the Dan Duquette, Theo Epstein era, the reality is that at this time of year, it is the Doug Fisters or the Jason Vargases and not the Carlos Beltrans or the Jose Reyeses that teams acquire. So why this article, and where are you getting this information?
My co-owner of the site, Ben Buchanan, wrote that, and this who should they acquire is kind of guys who are available or supposedly available at the deadline that we would like to see here, not necessarily the guys that the Sox are going hard after, but guys who would fit. And the Sox call in on everyone, just in case, because if there's a great deal for a guy that they could use, they're not going to pass it up.
Well, not only that, for example, Ubaldo Jimenez, they're going to call because they want everybody writing it to let the Yankees know publicly that they were in on them too.
Exactly, to push up the price for anyone else. And I mean, even the Yankees could use Vargas or Fister if they were made available by the Mariners. So
talk about give us your opinion about Vargas and Fister and why. I mean, I agree with you. Let me just give you my opinion, but then I want to hear yours. I agree with you that what the Red Sox should be looking for is an arm, a strikeout guy. I mean, on my fantasy team, two guys have carried me all year in a league where you take two closers. I don't even have closers. I have a Johnny Venters and Tyler Clippard. They strike guys out. They get holds. They're live arms. The Nationals and the Braves would be crazy to give either guy up. But if I had my druthers as a Red Sox fan, I'd love to see an arm like that popped right into the Red Sox bullpen.
Yeah, I mean, and I wish they talked to the Padres about, and I'm sure they do, especially since they're so close with Hoyer and McLeod, about getting someone like Mike Adams or Heath Bell, who's going to be a big strikeout reliever. They already have a closer in Papelbon, and they have Bard, who's a relief ace. But getting another guy like that would really do a lot for the team. And, if they can't get another starting pitcher, and there's really not a lot available at the deadline, that might be the way to go. Just add another dominating bullpen arm.
So do you think, are Vargas and Fister, in your opinion, are those guys that would fit into the pre-Daniel Bard, Phil Bobby Jenks role that he hasn't been able to do for all the money they've spent? Just to stick in that bullpen somewhere to go to them on a day when Bard's not available, to get up to Bard if you had to, fifth to eighth inning guys?
I see them as more of someone to lock down the fifth starter spot. I mean, they look like they're better pitchers than that because of Seattle, because it's such a pitcher's park. But for Boston, it would just be, if they lose faith in Andrew Miller and they don't want to use Kyle Weiland there, that's a guy they could lock down with the fifth spot with. You wouldn't see him in the playoffs except unless he came out in relief.
Right.
But during the regular season, it would just give them someone a little more consistent.
Well, I agree. I think we're both right. I see them as Alfredo Aceves types, guys that could fill two different roles. Again, if you're a contending team and you get these guys, and like you said, if Lackey keeps doing what he's doing, if Miller is inconsistent, I mean, Dice-K's gone, it gives them more time to get Buchholz back and others. And by the way, the trading deadline's only a week for Sunday. So these guys could fill either role, even though they could, you look at them primarily as starters.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it just comes down to cost, because they might end up costing more than they should, just because there's barely anyone to acquire for starting pitchers at the deadline right now. So it's kind of tough. I would almost rather have Eric Bedard if he shows that he can come back healthy within the next week.
He's the ultimate tease, though, isn't he? I mean, he was the tease when Seattle signed him. He's the tease on fantasy day when you go to draft him because you're going to get him in a low round. But he's been jinxed. He just cannot stay healthy. When he is, though, you're right. He's got that potential to be a top of the rotation type of guy.
Yeah, it's definitely a tease, but it's kind of that high risk, high reward thing they could get out of the last 2 months of the season. And they do have other bodies, and they have been using them, so they could afford to throw something out there and get Bedard back, and the Mariners will obviously want to get rid of him.
Yeah, and again,
on their long-term plan.
And again, going back 20 years to Dan Duquette, starting with Brett Saberhagen, and now looking at Andrew Miller, and even Kevin Millwood. To your point about risk-reward or trash or treasure, when you're a contending team, you try everything, and those are the type of things you do. You spend a little more money, stick a guy in the minors. If it doesn't work out, it was risk-reward.